And I will turn it over to Doyle to cover the changes in the app and the website. So Doyle, take it away.
All right, thanks, Jason, and welcome, coaches. This is an exciting year because we've got a whole new release that I've been wanting this out for years, wanting to have this put this in the hands of the coaches for years, and finally it's happening. Just to give you a little bit of background, the app, the new release, and all of the apps were released back in December, mid-December. So states like Texas, Georgia, let's see who else, California, New Mexico, they've been using it now for quite a while. So everything is, we've been hearing feedback, and people have always been able to run the events, but at the same time, anytime you have new software, you're going to have situations where you have to work through things, and so that's what we've been doing, and we will continue to work through small things here and there that come up. So just know that we are actively fixing things, and here to support you. So as far as on what has happened is that we have taken all of the concepts of version 2 and we have just put it into version 3 on a much faster architecture, and we've added some new features. The biggest one, and I'm going to do it right here as you see my screen that I'm sharing here. So as I make this narrower, you can see that everything still is a good experience. And so now I can, if this was an iPhone, I could still have a good experience even on a screen that is very narrow, like you see here. Okay, so that is called responsive web design, and so that's going to enable you to log in, you as coaches, to log in on your phone, on a browser, iwannamaker.com, like I'm going to do right now, and that will allow you to have that open on your phone, and you can also pop between there and the app itself. So if you need to make a last minute change to a pairing, then all you have to do is go to your browser, open up the sign in and go to the event. All coaches have the ability to log in from 2 different devices, 2 different applications. So one being the browser and one being your phone, or the app, the MSHSL Golf app. So the MSHSL Golf app, which is connected to this, has been rebuilt. Okay, so the first thing is responsive web design. You can see no matter where I am, whatever page I am, everything starts to change as I make the screen narrower or wider. The other big thing that we've done is you're seeing the national view here, right? This is events across the entire United States. So there's 226 events today. You can see how over 100,000 high school golfers in the US. The rankings are national rankings. The leagues, we've added, I think 16 or 17 more states since last spring. So more and more state associations are realizing the benefits of moving to the iWannamaker system, the iWannamaker platform. The other thing that I want to point out is the favorites. So when you get signed up, or actually, if you were a coach last year and you just log in, you should land on your school's homepage. So if you don't, then just email support and we can figure out what's going on. But know that if you are, like if I go to and I can favorite things like events, I can favorite golfers, I can favorite a league, I can favorite a club, okay? And those will show up under your favorites. So I went ahead last week and I favorited the girls AA. So that allows me to pop right in to the girls AA state championship. And so that's how you can navigate using the favorites piece. Okay, so then what else? Well, I gotta move this. This thing is in my way here. just move this down a little bit. I'll put this over here. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. My screen sharing had all your guys' pictures over top of it. I couldn't see what I was doing. So if you, like I said, you can navigate. So now if I'm a school, let me just take quickly, if I'm at an event and I need to go up to the top level, to the statewide view, I just click right here on the Minnesota State High School League. Okay. I'm going to go over a lot of navigation things first here, and then we'll get into some event editing features as well, on how that works, how that's different than before. So here's the view of all the events that are across the state so far. There's 68 events scheduled right now. And now if I want to go back all the way to the top to see how my team is doing nationwide, then in the rankings, I would click the I Want to Maker logo. That's how you get all the way back up. And then I can go to rankings, and now I can see the national view here. Now, the other thing that we did is we had this feature. It's like, how do you compare apples to apples? If I got, you guys do 6 count 4, well, we have that, right? So if you want to do a comparison on you in Minnesota to others, you could do 6 count 4. You could actually go back and see where you ended up last year. And so then you could go in and you could search on your school and know exactly where you stood when you're doing the 6 count 4. So you're comparing, apples to apples, like I said. So that is a little bit about the navigation and the additional features. Let me go back into, in my easiest way to get in for you, you would have the ability to go straight. And by the way, we add the MSHSL as well as your school to your favorites automatically, right? So I wouldn't turn those off, because you can always jump back into your school by simply doing that. So there you can see I popped into an event. We add the favorites because let's say you get to the end of the season and you kind of want to follow all the state tournaments. You can go and favorite all of them, and you could just pop between them very easy with just a couple of clicks. So the favorites is available on the app as well as the website. Okay. So a couple things about, now let's just look at this event here, right? And think about, what has changed there. So you got the details, and this is where, if there was event information, you'd see it here. And so I'm just going to work my way from the top to the bottom here. So you saw the leaderboard, right? And well, let me a couple things here. So now when you click on a school, it takes you to that school's, all the scores for the players of that school, and it gives you a total here. The other thing that it does, and on this event, it's hard to show it, but let's say that you brought 7 players, that you put 7 players in a tournament. What it would do is it would show the players that are seeded 1 through 6 here. It would have your team score. And then down below that, it would say, and these are the players that were not considered in the team score. So let's say you had 8, right? Then you'd see 2 players down below, and those were the players that were seeded 7 and 8. So that way it'd be very easy to understand that, oh, we're counting the best 4 out of these 6. Here's our team score, and here are the 2 that are not being considered. So that is a quick view of the team on what's different about the team. And we also held on to the plus versus par. We don't hide that now, so we give you the overall plus that, right? So if I go over to individual, now you're going to see a little bit different here. You can click on any player, and you can see their full scorecard, front and back. And then you got round 1, round 2. Very easy to access. You can see the whole. They started on 10 on round 1. They started on 1 on round 2. Okay, so Grace did. If I want to get to Grace's scorecard, the actual scorecard, which will open up in a new tab, I just click on Grace here. Okay, now the experience of this is very similar on the app as well. Now here again, watch, if I take this and I make this narrower, you can see what it does, right? It continues to squeeze things down to the point where I've got my front 9 and my back 9 for round 1, and my front 9 and back 9 for round 2. So that works everywhere. And that opened up a new tab as well. So if I go back to the original tab and close this tab out, now I can collapse, if you will, Grace's scorecard. While I'm here, I wanted to tell you that in version 2, the only way to put stats in is if a marker put them in. And coaches asked us, can we just do it so that the golfer or anyone, right, can put stats in? And all we do is we allow you to put putts and if you hit the fairway. So now the golfer can do that. So Jason can be scoring for me as my marker and me for him as his marker. But if I wanted to put my stats in, I could put my stats in. He could as well. He could put mine in, or I could put his in, whatever, or I could put we can each put our own in. So just know that anyone in that pairing can put the stats in for anyone else in that pairing. So we just made that flexible. And so typically what we think people are going to do is I would just put my putts and fairways hit in. Okay. So if you want to do that, now the golfers can do that. And now you can use that as a tool, as a coach, to evaluate kids throughout the season. So I went now details. So under details, event information and rounds, if you want to print out scorecards, you do that by going to the details and then right here on print individual scorecards. That will generate a PDF that will show up in my downloads, and it's very similar to what you saw before. Okay, in version 2. So we didn't spend a whole lot of time on printables because we're more into the digital era now. So we've spent more time and invested more time and money in the digital experience. If you go down to pairings, you'll see it's a little bit different, right? We got the logos here now. We give more information about these players and the school they're with, the seat and how they're seated. This is the data here is still the same. The hole they started on, the time they started, and then what they've played through, and then their pace. Okay, so this gives you the actual average pace. It's actually what we do is we give the players the benefit of the doubt. So whoever logs first, so after they get done with the hole, we stamp that time when that first player enters that score in, and that was we at that point we say they're done with the hole. And so if it took 10 minutes to play the hole, then we would have stamped that as 10. And then we average that throughout the round. So that's what this pace is here, the pace for the pairing. Okay. Markers is a little bit different, a little different look and feel. Still, again, the data is still here. You can see now, if I'm running an event, the way we design this is that you get the players in, you set everything up, you get them all paired. And now you come here and you could be looking at the leaderboard, and at the end of the event, you're saying, okay, let's make sure all these kids get their scorecards signed and everything is good. So you can come here and see who signed what scorecards, right? So you can see that at this point, Grace never did sign her scorecard, neither did Maddie, Molly didn't. Grace did. So these two did not. So now you've got one place where you can see which kids have signed their scorecards and which ones have not. So we're hoping that you really emphasize that, because the other thing that happens on the app, when they finish their round, they receive a pop-up. If it's a 9-hole round and all their scores are entered, we tell them, you should go and sign your scorecard. Go look at it. Whether you should, I don't know if you're at your smaller events, your regular season events, maybe they don't have an official scores table, but maybe they do at the state tournament. So that's something that you should educate your golfers on as the season plays out. Where and how do you sign your scorecard? After school event, regular season, maybe they do it when they're meet up with their coach. And maybe Jason will say, no, we need you to go to the official scoring area before you sign your scorecard. Completely up to you on how you do that. And you can look at round 1, round 2, just by simply switching that. Scoreboards has changed in that the other version used to get stuck at the bottom. That doesn't happen anymore. So now you've got this option here. You can do it the traditional. You just click go, and it'll start to scroll the team. It'll get to the bottom. It'll sense that. It'll go grab the latest scores, and then it'll go and it'll start displaying the individuals. And it'll just keep doing that over and over and over again, okay, until you stop it. So if you want to get this going in the clubhouse, you can do that. As we're looking at this, one of the things that we talked about with Jason's, the MSHSL Golf Committee, is to by default not include teams that are not full. So Visitation School did not have a full team. So can you hide those, right? And the answer is yes. You can either display them or hide them. And so we are going to, not sure when we'll get to it, but ultimately we will, by default, exclude teams that don't have a full team from the team leaderboard. Okay, so that takes care of the scoreboards, and I'll show you where that is in a little bit here. So there's your scoreboards. Your statistics for the event are right here, and you can switch between 9. This is an 18 hole, two rounds. You can switch between player, team. You have all your options here. You can see which player had the most birdies in the state championship across both rounds. So that is still there. All of that is also available at the statewide. So now that I've kind of looked at this event, if I wanted to see, well, how is Grace doing statewide with her birdies, last year, right? So I can go up to here, I can go to rankings. Now I'm looking at it statewide. I could do girls, I could do player, and I could flip to last year. And then I could search on, I don't see her in the top there. Oh, I got boys. I got to get back to girls. And well, there she is right there. So statewide, she was third. And so that's her IWR, but then I could go over and take a look at the number of birdies. And I can see that she's not here. Oh, no, here she is right here. But also, so you can also search here too. You can just search on any name, and then that would focus you on that player or team. Okay, so some enhancements to this. Also, before you were seeing the qualifying rounds, really what we were doing is we were taking the best 10. And that's what the committee has decided. So if I want to look at all rounds, I could switch to that. This right here is looking at the best 10 rounds, 10 9-hole rounds for the whole season, right? And then so the IWR that we calculate is based on those best 10. And that's what the MSHSL, that's what Jason's team will be doing as you get towards the postseason. It's very important that you get every round that these kiddos are going to play, get them in, get them scored, because they're going to use that IWR to do the pairings in the postseason. And you can do the same as you approach, as these golfers get more and more data in the system, you can start to use the IWR for pairings instead of the seeding, right? So you can use seeds, or you could use the IWR, but you can start getting used to it as the season progresses. So let me go back now to events again. And I'm going to jump in this event here. I'm going to be able, I'm not going to modify it to the point where I'm going to back it out to where it was before. So now we're going to go in and actually edit an event. Okay. And so you can see how that, now this will not go away until all these items, until this task list is completed, right? So what's left here is we got to add golfers and we have to add pairings. And when that happens, then this goes away and the leaderboard will be displayed. So let's go ahead and jump in and do that. So I'm going to go over here and click on edit event. And all these items here they were all there before. They're all there again now. And so you can configure these as you did before. Okay. And then I'm going to go, the course was already added. That hasn't changed much. I'll say here that I would recommend go and favorite your course, the course that you play at a lot. And if you make that a favorite, it'll show up down here, and it makes it easier to add that to the event. Okay. And then you just keep moving your way. Now, before, remember, it was left to right. You'd move across, and now we got this going up and down because typically monitors are wider than they are tall. We wanted to give you as much real estate up and down as we could. So we move and I can make this stick by clicking right up here on the menu. So now I go to teams. So I'm going to work my way from top to bottom now. And so how do I get players into the event? Well, it used to show, I think it was called Add Golfer or something like that. So now I just click, always look for the ellipse, okay? Where you used to see buttons and the new and modern way of building software, and you probably see this in other applications that you use, is to use ellipses where you got more options, okay? So if I wanted to add additional teams to this event, I would do that right here. So I can add team from leagues. right? I can add additional team from the same school, and I could also do it from previous events. So now, what do I do? What can I do as far as this team goes? Well, I could change the team name, I could change the logo, I could change the abbreviation, and then I could also add golfers. So if I want to add golfers, let's just go ahead and grab, and I can also sort by seed here, right? And I'm going to grab 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'll make one of these a 1. I'll make Jack a 1. So you can see that we want you to seed them, right? 1 through 6, because we use that in calculating the team score. So for example, if you added a 7, right? So we need you to tell us who that 7th is, right? Because that 7th will not be considered in the team score. So now I've got 7 players seeded 1 through 7. And then I can do the same thing for this team here. I can sort on any one of these, right? And so if I'm one that I'd rather do it by last name, and I want to go grab now. Also, the I swoosh still holds the same. It's Bryson and Carter and Dustin have never gotten the app, and Graham, but who has gotten the app is Aaron, Lincoln, Nathan, Parker, Skylar. Okay, so that's 5, and let's go ahead and throw 6. So now if I throw those 6 in, and then I can seed them, let's see, I'll make this one a 5, 1, 2, 3, and let's make this a 4. And now I've got my seeding right, and now I've got enough players in here where I can do some pairings, right? So I've got 13 in, so let's go ahead and do, let's make the pairings easier. Let's just add one more golfer here. So I'll do this, and then I'll seed that last one, number 7, and then we can go on to the pairings. So once you save this, next thing you want to do is you can go to members. You probably don't need to do a lot here, because this is where the managers of this event are here because they were a coach for the team. The coach's manager thing is still the same. You can pare down your manager's list, but yet you can use the coaches to communicate. It's still a communication tool. I can send messages to the selected number of coaches here. I can go to the golfers screen and know that, okay, so we got to get Graham to get the app, right, before we can go live with this, because everyone else is going to be assigned to be a scorer, and whoever Graham is supposed to be scoring for will not have any scores put in. Although the managers could help out with that with the overrides feature, as you did in version 2. So none of that part has changed, right? So I can also export these. If you're used to exporting, then you can export so that you can have this list handy and say, let's say that Grant is having a problem. Well, you signed in with this email right here. If you are, you'll be able to score. So you can do all those features are still available, just maybe in a little different spot. I think there was a button before. Scores and officials, that hasn't changed. Let's go on to rounds. And for this round, by the way, every single time you create an event, a round is created, because we know that an event is no good without a round and pairings. So on this step, now you have all these options. And this is, by the way, where you will override scores, seeds, eligibility. First thing you got to do is we got to set the pairings. So we'll edit the pairings. These parameters haven't changed. You still have, the ability to do standard, shotgun. Let's say this is a 9-hole event. We're going to play from the blue tees, and I'm going to add 5 pairings. Okay. And so now I can go and I can click on this. I can sort by team, and then I can grab, actually I could do seed as well. Right, and I can hold my shift key down and then do it by team. So now I can just grab my 1s and my 2s, right? So I got my 1s and 2s, and I'll be able to have golfers marking for a golfer from the other team by doing it the way I'm doing it here. So now I can add the next group, the 3s and the 4s, right? You can add up to 5 golfers in a pairing. So I put the next one there. So let's just do 4 here. And then I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to do, actually, let's just do 3 and 3. I could have done 4 and 2, but we'll do 3 and 3. And we got this all done. Now at this point, I'm going to save this. Another thing you're going to notice is that this system is a lot faster than the old system. So this event now is ready to score live, right? I shouldn't have to do anything on the leaderboard step. I'm going to have a team gross and an individual gross. If I wanted to put information in, I could do that here. But at this point, I can go to event home. So getting into edit event mode is simply clicking on edit event. Going back out, remember I saw that task list. Task list is gone now. Task list has been replaced by the leaderboards. And that is on purpose because we know that there's no sense showing an empty leaderboard. You got to complete the steps. You got to complete the tasks, right? To be able to be ready to show that leaderboard. So now the golfers could score this, right? So you can see the marker assignments right here by just simply going to markers. You can see who's marking for who. You can see that no, here there was nothing we could do, right? Because we had that extra player in that group, and so we tried, but we had to have at least, one time where a teammate was scoring for a teammate. So that's the markers piece. Now let's go in and just put some scores in. So let's say that you had to do some overriding, right? So overrides, just click on overrides, and now we can go to override scores. And then I can do it by team, or I can do it by player. Okay, I can see if these guys all started on this. And so entering these scores in is not too difficult to do. You can override both on the app. By the way, you can do this on the app as well as the web here. So all you have to do is enter them in. What happened there? Oh, that's right. You have to, by the way, you have to be a manager to be able to do this, right? So I didn't create this event. I could go back and I guess I could do that. So if I go to members and I go to managers and I add myself as a manager, I would just type my name in, add myself as a manager, and then I could actually manage this event. This is a new feature in that if you ever need to add a PGA Pro to this event to be able to help out, it's a nice feature to be able to do that, right? So now it's much easier just to search on them, right? Well, if they are registered, all you have to do is type in their name, and if you know the email that they registered with, then you could do it that way. So now you'll see that if I enter in a few scores here, that I can save it. Okay, so that takes care of that, and I can do it by pairing as well. Okay, so either however you want to do that. And then if I go to event home, you'll see that we have some actual scores in now, and Jack Brown has scores. Now, if I needed to WD someone right here, it's under the same place, so I can go to eligibility, and I can change Jack to a withdraw. And that'll push Jack to the bottom of the leaderboard, right? So now I can go to event home and I can go to individual gross, and you can see that Jack has withdrawn and he only played a couple of holes. And now he's not going to be considered, as a winner of the event on the individual leaderboard. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and clean this up. While I'm doing that, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and fire away now. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna go in and clean this up because I don't want to leave this event the way it is, because I added a lot of things that the coach who created this is probably thinking, oh my gosh, he's messing my event up. So I can back out of this by just simply deleting a pairing. Okay. And then I can actually delete all pairings right here too. So if I want to put this back in the same state, and this is important to know, is that you get an event and a lot of times you say, I want to delete that event. Well, there's really no reason to delete the event, even if you created a duplicate. If you're going to run an event at the end of, later on in the season, you can change everything within an event. You can see that I just removed all the pairings, right? I can't remove the round because I don't want to remove the round because we are going to need a round, right? And then I can go into golfers and I can select all these golfers and I can remove them. Okay, I'm only removing them from this event. So at this point, all the things that I did, I've erased them all, right? So there's no players on the team right now. All those seating, all that stuff that I had done is all back to the way it was. This event is sort of like reset to the way it was before. So, questions? No? Okay, and you can
Just
see
a
that
general
now.
question about I Want to Maker. Can it be used to communicate practice times with students and parents, or is this just specifically for meets?
Yes, you can. Yeah, where I went in, where you saw me do managers. And let me just do this real quick. So if I go past and let's go down to this section tournament here. If I wanted to message all the golfers, I can just edit the event, go to members of this event, golfers, select here, and then I can send a message to select. I can compose my message and send it. It's all done via email right now. We will have an option in the future that will depend on what the member wants. They want communication. If they want push notifications or email or both, it's completely up to them. But we'll be adding that feature in the future. So that more related to the whole text messaging piece and push notifications.
Okay, thank you. So that's just, it would be delivered as an email at this point, but in the future it might be push notifications.
Exactly. Yep.
Wonderful. And then do you add practice rounds to I Want to Maker or just
Yeah, right
meets?
here. You just this you could have just marked your event as practice right here. So you have the option of doing any one of these. We added this feature, this event type, because this will allow at the end of the season, if a college coach wants to evaluate these teams and players, they can come in and say, hey, I only care about the section and state. So they can go to the rankings and only focus on postseason. Right? You can do a very similar thing. The other thing that we've done is practice events are not visible at the league level. You have to go down to the school to be able to see practice events. You also have the ability now to hide to make if it is practice. I'm not going to mess with this event. Let me go back to home and let's go here and let's grab this event and let's edit it. And let's just say it was a practice. I'm going to make sure that I don't save this. But you notice if I click on practice, limit the event visibility. Be careful with this. Your parents are not going to be able to see this event. Maybe you don't want them to, right? If you say yes, the only people that are going to be able to get to this event are the, and I'm not going to save it, right? So if I said limit, right? First of all, if I don't limit, if I leave it like this event will not be visible at the statewide level. They'll have to go to the school to see it. Okay, so we're not cluttering the regular season, with a bunch of practice events. So that was requested by coaches all across the nation, and so we decided, okay, we'll do that. So I'm going to discard those changes. But if I was to set the visibility and I was to limit it, then only the people on these lists can see this event. So obviously a parent is not in here, right? So once you get your golfers in, all of the managers, all of the coaches, all of the golfers, the scorers, and the officials, they're the only ones that will be able to see this event or get to it. It's hidden from everyone else. Okay, that was asked for. It was very difficult to put all that in, but just know that if your golfers, if you set up a practice event and your golfers say, hey, I can't find the event, well, just go to your school, right? And then you'll see it there, right? And the golfer is going to be able to see it no matter what, right? Because if I limit the visibility or not, all the people are still going to be able. It's just that if I don't limit it, then someone like a parent could go and find it by going to the school first and then going to the event. Okay, so that's all new in this version. So if you look at this page here and you click on practice, you'll notice that will pop up here, and now you have the ability to do that.
Thank you. One more thing. When you're adding members, do you just use like your students' school email, or do they have to sign up for the app first? Or how would you go about adding your team members to the I Want to Maker?
The way we recommend it is just for you in your first team meeting is to have all your golfers go get the MSHSL golf app. So this is the other thing I'll touch on that. Actually, to answer your question, I would refer you, I answer, but refer you to these documents as well. So I highly recommend that you watch, if you're not familiar with the platform at all, watch this video. Then you got the apps here. And then what you really asked about is roster management. In that video, it shows the recommended way. And that would be, and also it's in the coach's top 10 too. So if I open up this document, it says right here to go get, the app, in your case, the MSHSL golf app. I can click right here if I wanted to go and see all the apps that are out there. Then you'd see that, oh, okay, so you'd go down until you find the MSHSL golf app. So right here, right? So the first step, it's just 10 items that we recommend you do. Right. And you get down to creating your events, get follower. So your first team meeting, instruct your golfers to go get the app from the App Store or Google, from Apple or from Google Play. And once they've done that, they will add themselves to your roster. Okay. And after that happens, then what you'll be able to do is you're going to be able to then go in and manage your roster. So let me go out and act like I'm a coach. So I'm going to leave and discard that. So I'm going to act like I'm a coach for a school. Okay, so let's just do, it's at the top, Academy of Holy Angels. So if I'm a coach for this school, and I can see who the coaches are. So if I am Connor, right? So Connor signs in and Connor's going to land right here. Okay, so Connor can go ahead and set up the events for the season, and at his first team meeting, Connor will say, okay, golfers, go get the MSHSL golf app. And then he can literally sit right here and refresh and watch his roster populate right in front of his eyes. Okay, because this is tremendous. This is every one of these golfers, you can see by the swoosh, every one of them is ready to score. Now, if I was in a pinch and one of the kids was not responding to my text message as a coach, said go get the app, or they didn't listen, they wouldn't have this swoosh. Let's see if one of the girls doesn't. Let's see what happened here. Oh boy, they're just perfect, right? So if they don't have that, right, then when the golfer, let's say that and you got to watch for this. Look here, this looks like Ben got on the wrong roster, and so we could move him over, but we'll and then let's see if he got over here. No, he didn't. So those are things you can work with the coach about this, right? So somehow this is there's something wrong here, right? And so you might want to look into that if you're a coach to say, why is this? And you can deactivate that golfer as well. So let me go back. Let me see if I can find a situation on a roster where they don't have. Boy, you guys are just batting 1,000 here. No, and no girls team either. So anyway, so if you add, by doing this, if you add an ad hoc golfer, meaning that all you can put in is the first name and the last name, you can pick the gender and the grad year, and you can seed them. They're going to go on that roster, and there's not going to be an account connected to it. There's no user connected to it. When that golfer goes and gets the app, they're going to get to the point where they're going to be able to look at the roster and say, oh, coach put me in, that's me. And so then it'll connect and it'll swoosh that player. So let's say that Brady didn't have the swoosh. So then Brady goes, but the coach put Brady in ad hoc. So then when Brady gets the app, Brady's going to be able to match up with that roster entry. Okay, so that's what it explains in that document, is that make sure that your roster has all of these swooshes, and now you're ready for the season, right? You're going to be able to import these players into the events throughout the season, and you're going to repeat that over and over again. The golfers are going to score, you're going to close the round, the rankings are going to get updated, and you'll just keep doing that, okay, throughout the season. So that is the roster management piece. If you notice that we may have the class or the section or the conference wrong, just email us and we can fix that for you. But we think that we've got them all right. Jason, you guys didn't do any reclassifications this year, did you?
We just do cleanup every year if needed, for teams that, form a co-op or drop golf or those kinds of things. Otherwise, we did not do a complete redo of the section placement that will take place next year.
Okay, all right, good. So if there is anything wrong there, just let us know. Just email support. By the way, let me go back here. So this is where you want to be very familiar with this, and you might want to even have this number, right? Because you call us, we pick up, you're in a pinch, you need some help. Our guys can help with a lot of things like that. So this is the number here, and then here's the email. We are, our team is always, monitoring and managing the inbox for support at iwannamaker.com, as well as the phone lines. There's also some other helpful documents here that we recommend. So it doesn't take too long to go through it and read these, because they are, like I said, they're very helpful. There's a couple of videos down here that have not been redone yet for version 3. We will get to those. I think a lot of them are, but there might be a couple that are not. The other thing that we don't have yet, the one thing we don't have yet that we had before was and we're going to get to it, right? We just got so many things that we're doing right now, is the max score button. We hope to have that in the next 2 weeks. What we're working on right now is GPS with GolfLogix. So it's going to be a feature that allows golfers to not to have to leave the app. They're going to be able to get front, middle, back distances as they're playing. And they're also now GolfLogix. This is the version that is USGA compliant. So if you're interested in finding out more about GolfLogix, you can just go to GolfLogix and you can read about what they do. So GolfLogix has partnered with the USGA. Okay, so golfers, high school golfers, cannot see that type of a view, right? They can't see putt lines, none of that, right? That's not allowed, but there is a USGA compliant version, which is the version that we are going to be introducing, right? Which everything that is going to be offered is USGA compliant, right? No different than having a distance measuring device. This just happens to be on the phone. Okay, so in fact, this is the view that's USGA compliant, where you just have you can't have the colors there, but you basically get this right here, the ability to see break lines, right? That is all USGA compliant. Okay, and by the way, this is offered in the USGA golf app. Right, so that obviously has to be USGA compliant. So the GIN golf app, right? This is the same exact thing. We're offering it. It's going to be locked down to be tournament compliant. So just know that will comply with what the USGA is saying. Okay, so that is what we're working on now. Then we're going to add that max score piece. And at that point, we will have put back in all of the features that we had in version 2 into version 3, plus more. Okay, any more questions?
I'm not seeing any, Doyle. I guess I would
I
say.
have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, so is there any way that, like I coach both boys and girls, and here I am, I have to log all the way out of the boys to go over and see the girls during like a section tournament or a state tournament. Is there any way to easily flop between the two? I mean, before I've had to keep a browser open, so I wasn't on the app, I was on the browser to go look at where my girls were at. So I guess that's what I was wondering.
Right here, you're going to want to add them as favorites. So if I go in, I've got the boys and girls AA state right here. So I can pop over to the girls, I can pop over to the boys. If I was coaching at one of Roseau, I would automatically have that as a favorite, right? So I can go to, for example, I can go here and go to schools and go to Roseau, right? So anyone can add a school as a favorite, right? Now, if I go up here, I can also add the MSHSL as a favorite. So now you can see that I can jump into Roseau real quick, right? Just with one click, boom, boom, right? I can also go to the state championship right here. I can go to the MSHSL. So favorites is your key. there, right? Is what you want to use, leverage to be able to pop back and forth between different things.
Love it. Thank you.
Mhm. Now, because you coach boys and girls, we're going to default you to, your school's landing page, right? You'll have to, so we'll throw you here. If you're a coach of the boys and girls, you'll go here. But as far as the rosters, you'll have to, switch between the two of them, right? Because you're a coach of both. Now, eventually, and we've had this request, and it only makes sense, if I'm the girls coach, then why don't you default the roster to girls? Those are things that we're working on. Okay, so we will be adding those things in the future. So just know that, and also if you see something like that, just send an email to support, and we'll put it on our list of things that the nice to haves, right? And we'll get to it at some point, but this product has been built based on feedback that we receive from great coaches like you, right? And we're trying to make it so that it's a tool that saves you time. And so if it saves you time and it's going to save other coaches time, then please let us know, and we'll add it in. Okay.
And Doyle, just a reminder for the group, there are a number of tutorials and documents that describe all of the processes and the different pieces, both that Doyle described today, but also many others. And you can see those on the screen now. And so I would encourage you to review those when you have the opportunity, because many of those tutorials and documents and so forth will pretty much answer most of your questions. And then if you can't find the answer in those documents, those tutorials, then certainly reach out to support. And I would say that Doyle and his team are very responsive to your questions or things that come up during the season. So please use that. So Doyle, anything else you want to cover before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I think I've covered everything. I could talk for hours on this, but
Right.
yeah, no, I've covered everything that I think that's important to the new coaches, and even the ones that are seasoned veterans too.
Okay, great.
Jay, can I chime in really quick?
Go ahead, Mike.
We had the question earlier in the group, and I'm appreciative of whichever coach asked it, but just from our standpoint, those of us that run sectional tournaments in the state tournament, I encourage you, if you're veteran or young coaches, to put your practice rounds in. It helps your participants become more familiar and more comfortable with the program, and often leads to less anxiety and issue the day of a sectional tournament, and certainly the state tournament. So again, credit to whichever coach asked that question earlier, but I would highly recommend that you just get in the habit of putting practice rounds in for yourself to get more comfortable with it, but also most importantly for your participants.
Yeah, and you can do that right now, right? You can do a practice event, a classroom type exercise if there's still snow on the ground. Create it, have the golfers score it right within a few minutes. They could walk through without even being on the course. You could have that as an exercise you do in your next team meeting. Like I said, right in a classroom, you could do the whole thing and get them. So that way it just becomes second nature for them when they hit that first tee.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Look forward to supporting you guys this year again.
We will, we're looking forward to a great season. We appreciate Doyle and his team for all the work that they do to make this successful. So we will get this recording out on the dashboard, so coaches and others can review it later. But again, I would just remind coaches again to utilize the tutorials and the documents that are available on the site, because they do cover most items, and Matt and I are certainly ready to assist as well on items as they come up. So have a great season, everybody, and hopefully you can get out. Even though there was a smidge of snow today, hopefully you can get out and play here soon. So
There you go.
have a great
All
day,
right, thanks,
and
guys.
we'll see you down the line.